미국에서 15대 안에 든다고 합니다. 그때 알았으면 조금 더 어떻게 재무하게 해야 할까요? 이런.
잠깐. 다시 시작.
오늘
There's definitely correlation between the types of manuscript categories with the various types.
안녕하세요. 에니어그램해라의 헤라입니다. 오늘은 저의 미국 에니어그램 연구소 동기이자 세계적으로 유명한 재무 설계사 릭칼러를 모시고 인터뷰를 기획해 보았는데요. 릭은 저의 점심 메이트이자 산책 메이트였어요. 릭은 자신뿐만 아니라 칼러 파이낸셜 그룹 직원들까지도 다 리소더 쓴 에니어그램 수업을 듣게 하고 재무 컨설팅에 적용하고 있습니다. 릭은 돈에 대한 인간의 심리에 깊은 관심을 가지고 4권의 책을 쓰기도 했습니다. 우리나라에는 머니 스크립트라는 책이 번역되어 소개되어 있습니다. 인간의 비합리적 재무 행동에 대한 치유 분야의 전문가이기도 합니다.
Well, my first question is, what would be the greatest blessing and the biggest challenge in your life as a type 1?
I think the biggest challenge would be the inner critic, the constant judging and frustration that is experienced with others who are not getting it right. And quite frankly, until I ran into the Enneagram, I had done, 20 years of therapy and group therapy.
Wow.
And the Enneagram really opened up some things to me that I had not seen in myself in all of those years. And one of them is the basic fear of a 1 is that they're defective, that they're corrupt.
Right.
I was at a workshop where I did come in contact with my basic fear, and it was terrifying. So I got what he meant many, many years later. And it's the anger of the 1 is resentment, and it's internal.
Inward, right?
I see it as going internal, where the type 8 comes outward. I wasn't even aware of that till the Enneagram put that in front of me, and then I started paying attention. I'm like, wow, I am angry a lot. I mean, just boom, 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 feeling the inward frustration, resentment. So I think that's the challenge. I mean, the inner critic. I remember working with my business coach, and I was frustrated one day. He says, "Oh, Rick, let's do a little meditation." Okay, all right. And he kind of walked me through it. Can we bring some loving kindness to the frustration? We got done. I'm like, Courtney, how can you bring loving kindness to frustration? I have nothing good to say about this. And there's something else that I've been introduced to called internal family systems therapy that has helped me as a 1 understand at a very tactical level what it's like to bring compassion to myself. That was the most foreign concept. And actually to embrace the critic and understand that my critic is not something to be gotten rid of, is not something necessarily to silence. My critic, that part of me really had my best interests in mind. That just doesn't serve me as an adult.
Right.
The blessing of a 1, I think, for me, is the objectivity, the discipline, the discernment, and occasionally there's a little wisdom that pops up.
So did it help you to work as a financial consultant too?
The Enneagram has definitely helped my work as a financial consultant as a financial therapist, as a father, as a husband. When I hire someone for my companies, I give them a lot of personality evaluations. And the Enneagram, which is a self-discovery and a personal growth tool, at its very shallowest, it's a personality typing. And Russ Hudson would be very upset. I mean, because he absolutely doesn't teach it that way nor wants it viewed that way. So it is at its shallowest. It helps me understand somebody else. So if somebody tells me, that they fixate around a type 7, I can immediately get some of the essences of that characteristic. Well, obviously, most of the people I come in contact with that don't know the Enneagram and have no idea what they fixate around. And it helps me to understand, and especially me as a 1, it helps me not to be critical or to judge them.
Question number 2, because you mentioned about the essence of the person, and your essence as a type 1 is a goodness and sacred, and I can feel goodness and the sacred in your book, like a Wired for Wealth. What would you say if your books are mirroring your essence?
Well, it would. I would love if they're mirroring my essence. That would be very.
I'm really sure.
Complimentary. And I suppose it makes sense that they're mirroring my essence, but also I'd have to say that it would also make sense if my books mirror my ego fixation too.
Okay, that's a good explanation too, but can you explain it more? Because I want to hear it.
Well, typically how we approach things is through our personality type, through our fixation. So I would suspect, as one of my challenges are, that my writings can be judgmental. They can be exhibit the criticism, or maybe more subtly, here's how to do it right. I mean, that's also just the fact that it's a book, right?
Right.
The type 1 is called The Reformer. So let me put this knowledge out to the world, because this is the knowledge that's needed for everything to be in order, which is another thing one loves,
Right.
and to be right. So I think it's probably pretty hard to not find that in my writings.
Well, but I feel like because you're trying to be good for the people who are suffering from money, and also I could feel you're really sincere, and there is something beyond that money. So that's like, I thought, oh, wow, this is the wisdom of the money, something like that. That's how I felt. That's why I'm saying this is mirroring your essence rather than your ego fixation.
Well, I'd like to think more essence comes out than ego fixation.
But yeah, I mean, there is always, ego and essence go together. So I know what you mean, but thanks for honesty, because I know what you mean too.
Yeah, it's a dance, I drop down to the lower levels occasionally.
Everybody does. Yes, yes.